everybody, welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian, also known as UK Gen Zoidberg, and this is Best 10, where I offer up my choices for my favourite games to fit a selected theme. I'm currently making my way through some of the most well-known publishers of Amiga games, and selecting my favourite titles from each one. Today it's the turn of a company that will be well known to gamers of all ages, Electronic Arts. Now, I'm not here to talk about EA the company, or how they are perceived by gamers today. I'm here to celebrate the games, and they were actually responsible for some really good ones, as well as some of the best-selling games on the Amiga too. As this is my personal choice, you can expect there to be games missing that you think I should have included. And it's not that I necessarily think that they are bad games, it's just that they're probably in a genre that I don't particularly play. Whether you agree or disagree with my choices, I'd love to hear what your best 10 is in the comments. Now though, let's kick off the list with my number 10. When it comes to arcade conversions, Electronic Arts are perhaps one of the last companies that you would think of. Yet in 1986 they produced this fantastic version of Atari's Marble Madness. Mouse control is the perfect replacement for the arcade's trackball, although it was also compatible with a trackball controller if you could find one. And whichever you choose, it's tremendously fun to play, especially in two-player mode. There may only be a limited number of levels, but the difficulty increases nicely, and you'll always feel that you can get further next time. Its release actually predated the arrival of the A500, and it stands as an early example of just what the Amiga was capable of. Ever wondered what the actual fights between competing chess pieces would look like? Clearly the people at Interplay did when they made Battle Chess. Every time you take one of the opponent's pieces, you're treated to a little animation of that character's victory. Beneath the fantastic animations, playing against the computer actually make for a very satisfying challenge too. Of course, there will be people out there who will say, but it's just a chess game. And to them, I would say, no, it's the chess game. Why play a normal computerized version of chess when you can have two knights hacking limbs off each other instead? There are so many Warhammer games these days that it's truly hard to keep track of them all, and Space Hulk in 1993 was my introduction to the 40k universe. This first-person dungeon crawler sees you controlling up to 10 units at once as you explore levels overrun with gene stealers, and it's one of the hardest games I've ever played. Even getting through the tutorial missions unscathed is an achievement, but it's also incredibly addictive and enjoyable. The game is absolutely overflowing with atmosphere too, and learning how to maintain and protect your squad will require hours of repeat play, patience and practice. In converting John Madden American Football to give it its full UK title, from the Mega Drive to the Amiga, they were obviously going to have to make some changes to the controls. Thankfully, the control method that they came up with for a single button joystick is nigh on perfect. The way that you select your plays has remained the same since this first release, simply because EA got it right straight away, and it works so well. This remains a good looking and playable interpretation of the sport, and you don't really need to have any knowledge about the real thing to enjoy it either. Easily the best American football game on the Amiga. I've always been partial to a golf game, and PGA Tour Golf is still one of my go-to games. Its easy-to-use interface makes it incredibly simple for anybody to pick up and play, and this means that you can concentrate on the more important things like club selection and shot placement. Graphics haven't aged too well, but don't let that put you off. The 1994 release of PGA European Tour may have improved visuals, but that came at a cost. This original game remains faster and smoother, with much shorter loading pauses, and for me, that makes it much more enjoyable. Risky Woods was a co-production with Spanish software house Dynamic, whose output was usually less than stellar. This meant that I had incredibly low expectations before I played it. Needless to say, I was blown away. The graphics are excellent, featuring some smooth parallax scrolling, and the arcade-like gameplay has that tough but fair difficulty that you'd expect from games like Ghouls and Ghosts. Like that game, it gets better the more you play it, and I absolutely love it. The only thing keeping it from topping this list is the unfortunate inclusion of negative power-ups, especially the ones that flip the screen, reverse the controls, or send you back to the last checkpoint that you passed. To say that it's annoying is an understatement. The advertising for Indianapolis 500 put the ability to watch your crashes from 6 different angles front and centre. Little wonder then that most players took that as an invite to cause as much destruction as possible. I have to admit that that part was very entertaining. Away from the crashes though, you have an extremely playable racing sim with a great sensation of speed. Just a shame that you only have one oval circuit. My ideal racing game in the early 90s would have had the controls of Indy 500 and the tracks of Formula 1 Grand Prix. Alas, that was not to be. Not on the Amiga, anyway. Bullfrog had a knack for kicking off entire genres. They did it with Populous in 1990, and they did it again with Theme Park 4 years later. There had been business and management simulations before, but it's simply more enjoyable building an amusement park than it is a railroad or running an oil company. You'll be playing with a fixed smile on your face as there's a healthy dose of humour throughout, from the intro sequence to the devious ways that you can manipulate your visitors for profit. I can vividly remember one particular failure of mine involving lowering food prices and raising the intensity of the bouncy castle rides. It was not pretty. I never owned a Mega Drive in the 90s, but Desert Strike was one of the first games to make me want one. Fortunately, it was converted to the Amiga about a year later. What's so enjoyable about it is the freedom that it gives players to take on their mission targets in any order that they like, and I lost hours simply flying around the maps to see what I could find. It all plays brilliantly too, with simple, responsive controls whether you're using the keyboard or a 2-button joypad. The sound also deserves a special mention, with impressive explosions and lots of radio chatter. It's been followed by numerous sequels, only one of which also got an Amiga release, but as far as I'm concerned, the quality went on a steady downward curve following this excellent original.
Mission complete.
Syndicate is a different kind of business simulation from Bullfrog, where you take over your competitors through actual assassination and slaughter. Your 4 trenchcoat-clad agents go through the various missions gunning down anyone who gets in their way, with increasingly powerful weaponry. It can be immensely enjoyable, arming your squad with rocket launchers and seeing the carnage unfold. Sometimes your Amiga will struggle to keep up, especially if you're playing on an A500. Think of it as a darker, more serious variation of cannon fodder, and you wouldn't be far wrong. I made a full re-review video about this one just last month, so please do check that out for a more in-depth analysis. Those were my favourite 10 games published by Electronic Arts. Which games do you think I should have included instead, and which ones do you agree with? Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure that you like and subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.